And welcome back to Sports on Tap. We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio, 2706 Boston Road. I'm Rob Trumpman. We have Josh Effie, Dick, Sean Duffy. Here it's our Week 10 Ohio High School football coverage recap. Coming up, it's the Suburban League. Sean Duffy and Ed Dick are going to give you all the up-to-date scores and some highlights from the games. And we're going to get into playoff football coming up. Buckeye Bucks, see what they did in Week 10 as well, along with our Game of the Week coming up. But, guys, the Suburban League, I'm interested to see what happened in Week 10 here. You got some teams that fighting for the playoffs. Let's see what happened. Let's start with Ed Dick, who is covering the National Division in the Suburban League.
All right, thank you, Rob. We will start with Wadsworth and Macedonia-Nordonia engaging in a high-scoring Suburban League National Division finale as the Grizzlies defeat the Knights 55-36. Wadsworth's Alex Jones had 191 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns to go with 24 yards rushing and a touchdown. Wadsworth quarterback Joey Bachman dazzled with 226 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, as well as 256 yards rushing for 3 more touchdowns. Not to be undone, Nordonia's quarterback Robbie Levick threw for 252 yards and 5 touchdowns and rushed for another 103 yards. Anthony Perrine rushes 28 times for 186 yards, got a 2-point conversion, and also caught a touchdown. Not a whole lot of defense going on in this game, apparently.
That's for sure.
Wadsworth finishes their season 5-5 overall, 4-3 in the conference. Nordonia, I gotta be honest with you, I have to imagine they're pretty disappointed about this, and this is a very big, a surprising result to me. Nordonia finishes 3-7 overall, 1-6 in the conference.
Wow.
Twinsburg, the Twinsburg Tigers took on the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers, and Twinsburg finishes their season on a 3-game winning streak, defeating the Black Tigers 35-22. Twinsburg's Jalen Tucker rushed for a 5-yard touchdown and returned a kickoff 96 yards for a touchdown. Running back Cameron McLean rushed for scores of 1 and 52 yards. For Cuyahoga Falls, quarterback Nate Vassilotti threw 2 touchdown passes. And also, each defense got in the act. They both returned, both had an interception return for a touchdown. Twinsburg, after starting the season off pretty rough, they finished 4-6 overall, 4-3 in the conference. Cuyahoga Falls won their first game, got off the schneid. However, they were winless the rest of the season, 1-9 overall, 0-7 in the conference. Stowe Monroe Falls, the Bulldogs traveled to North Royalton, hoping to clinch their share of the Suburban League National Division title and solidify their spot in the Division I Region I playoffs. The Bulldogs took care of business, defeating the Bears 34-7. Quarterback Kyle Van Treese threw for 176 yards and rushed for another 104 yards with 2 touchdowns. Running backs Brian DeVitas and J.R. Atkinson also added rushing touchdowns for the Bulldogs. For the Bears, freshman quarterback Joe Marusik connected with David Stewart for the Bears' only score. I'll tell you what, Marusik's going to be pretty good. I mean, he's only a freshman, and he's playing up against a pretty good competition here in this division. By the time he gets to be a senior, he's going to be someone you definitely want to watch out for. North Royalton drops to 3-7 overall, 2-5 in the conference. Stowe wins a share of the Suburban League National Division title. They finished the regular season 9-1 overall, 6-1 in the conference. They are the number 3 seed in Division I Region I, and they will take on another team of Bulldogs, hosting number 6 Canton McKinley Friday night at 7:30. That is going to be
a good game.
That's going to be a tremendous game. All right.
That one loss really hurt Stowe to drop down to number 3.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they were able to get Hudson. I mean, Division I Region I.
Would they have been number 1, do you think?
I don't know about that because Solon ended up being number.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
which is odd because Solon had the same record and still beat Solon. Yet Solon ended up getting the number 1 seed overall in that.
Yeah, but
wow.
Solon lost to a team, and I'm not 100% sure on who.
I think it was Twinsburg.
Solon lost to Hudson.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
No, I'm sorry, my fault.
Was it
Solon?
Twinsburg?
No.
They lost to Stowe.
Hudson lost to Twinsburg. My fault. Solon
Okay.
lost to Stowe.
Okay.
But their wins in the conference Solon ran the table in the GCC.
Yeah.
So, you got a lot more Division I points to win there.
Yeah.
Whereas Stowe plays mostly Division II schools. All right. The game of the week, a share of the Suburban League National Division Championship was at grabs at Brecksville Broadview Heights High School as the 8-1 overall, 5-1 in the conference. Bees hosted 7-2 overall, 5-1 in the conference. Hudson Explorers. Hudson, having already clinched a playoff spot in the Division II Region 5 playoffs, got off to a 10-0 second quarter lead behind a 32-yard field goal by junior kicker Grant Gagne and a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Kevin Callahan. Brecksville cuts the lead to 10-7 before the half on a 1-yard touchdown run by quarterback Luke Sternad. The Bees then opened up the third quarter with a 40-yard touchdown pass from Sternad to Adrian Asamu. Sam Wright then put the Explorers back on top, 17-14 going into the fourth quarter, catching a 12-yard pass from quarterback Colt Palais. It went back and forth in the fourth as the Bees went back on top on a 34-yard touchdown run by Alec Buckley. Hudson countered with a 44-yard touchdown pass from Palais to Colin Paltani and a 29-yard touchdown run by Kevin Callahan to go up 31-21. Brecksville was able to pull within 3 on a second touchdown pass from Sternad to Asamu, this one covering 17 yards with 17 seconds left in the game. However, Hudson recovered the ensuing onside kick and hung on for a 31-28 victory and a share of the Suburban League National Division title. For the Explorers, quarterback Colt Palais completed 13 of 20 passing for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Kevin Callahan rushed 20 times for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brecksville's Luke Sternad completed 20 of 27 passing for 274 yards and 2 touchdowns, while rushing for 30 yards and a touchdown on 14 carries. Alec Buckley accounted for over 140 yards rushing and receiving with 1 rushing touchdown, and Adrian Asamu caught 4 passes for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hudson finishes the regular season 8-2 overall, 6-1 in the conference. They are the number 4 seed in Division II Region 5, and they are going to host someone we're going to hear about here shortly.
Oh, yeah.
They are going to host number 5 Copley from the American Division. Brecksville also closes out the regular season at 8-2 overall, but 5-2 in the conference. The Bees have qualified as the number 6 seed in Division II Region 5. They will travel to number 3 Warren G. Harding. Both games will be Friday night at 7:30. My MVP of the week, and there are plenty of gaudy stats to go through here, I gave it to Alex Jones, running back from Wadsworth, 191 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, and 24 yards rushing with 1 touchdown. And I give it to him, too, also because he missed most of the year. He wasn't supposed to play, from what I understand, and the fact that he was able to put in all the rehab and get himself back on the field and really give this Wadsworth team a boost when things were looking a little grim for him. So congratulations to Alex Jones. He had a great career at Wadsworth. So he is my Week 10 MVP for the Suburban League National Division. I want to kick it over here to my cohort, my compadre, my colleague, my
Partner
PIC.
You know it.
Sean
Love it.
Sean Duffy is going to break down the Week 10 of the Suburban League American Division.
Thank you, Ed. In the American Division, we're going to start out with Aurora welcoming Talmadge in on Week 10. And Aurora had pretty much assured themselves of a number 1 seed, the Suburban League American Division titles, and pretty much home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So you would think maybe they would take it easy on Talmadge. They did not. They did not take it easy on
Well, we've
Talmadge.
seen them play this year.
Aurora's football
They're
team
impressive.
finished off their year very strong with a 49-0 victory over Talmadge on Friday nights. Aurora senior quarterback Mac Austin accounted for 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 passing. And running back Chris Vanzo had 2 touchdowns on the night, 1 for 4 yards and 1 for 12 yards. At the half, the score was 41-0. So the second half, Aurora's coach decided we're just going to play the backups from now on. They were able to tack on a couple more touchdowns after that, but it really wasn't competitive. The Green Men, as I mentioned, have clinched the number 1 seed in Division II Region 5. they will take on a familiar opponent as they host the number 8 seed Barberton Magics in round 1 of the Division II playoffs. Talmadge unfortunately finishes the season 2-8 overall and 0-6 in the conference. Moving on, we get a preview of what playoff football looks like when Bedford traveled into Copley. Both these teams were assured of playoff spots in the Division II Region 5. But, it's a good warm-up. It's a good taste for all those kids knowing what playoff football is all about. Copley senior quarterback Austin Brenner and senior running back Weston Bridges were the workhorses for Copley this game. Wow. Bridges finished the night with 21 carries and 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Brenner had 21 carries for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Copley finishes the year 8-2 with the win 37-20 over Bedford. And as I mentioned, is the number 5 seed in Division II Region 5. And they will travel to take on number 4 seed Hudson in the first round, as Ed had mentioned. Bedford is the number 7 seed in Division II and Region 5, and they will travel to take on number 2 seed Chardon in the first round on Friday night. Moving on to Kent Roosevelt traveling into Highland, and unfortunately Highland's fate had pretty much been sealed by this point as they were mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. But they were looking to end their season with a win. Highland was able to utilize an explosive rushing performance for a dominating win on senior night against Kent Roosevelt, 42-7. Senior running back Chris Burnside and sophomore running back Jake Rogers combined for 4 rushing TDs for the Hornets, and the game was never in doubt. Highland improved to 6-4 on the year and 3-3 in the conference. Despite the win, however, the Hornets are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. Roosevelt finishes the season 2-8 overall and 1-5 in the conference. My spotlight game for Week 10 was Barberton traveling to Revere. The reason this was the spotlight game was because Barberton needed this win and some help to get to clinch the number 8 seed in that division. And they were able to They were able to get a win, 39-14 over Revere. Barberton's junior running back Key Thompson had 3 rushing touchdowns. Junior quarterback Zane Reese threw a touchdown pass to senior tight end Kobe Booker. And Barberton's defense was able to shut down the Minutemen, including junior linebacker Christian McCarroll, who took an interception return back for a touchdown. Barberton clinched the final spot in Division II Region 5 and will travel to the American Division rival Aurora in the first round of the playoffs. They met early on in the season, and Aurora won 49-24. So this is going to be the second time that the Magics have a shot at Aurora. Revere falls to 5-5 overall and 3-3 in the conference. They are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, but a pretty good season for the Minutemen.
Yeah. And
you got to look to build off of that for next year. My Week 10 MVP goes to Barberton running back Key Thompson and his 3 touchdowns. When the team needed him, he came up big for them. They got the win. They got the playoff spot. Now let's see if they can continue that momentum against a very, very tough Aurora defense. As just a recap, the American Division playoff teams and matchups are number 8 Barberton travels to number 1 Aurora, and Copley travels into Hudson, which is actually a cross-division matchup.
Yeah, a whole lot of Suburban League going on.
There's a lot of Suburban League in the Division II Region 5. So, again, some familiarity, and also a little bit of bragging rights going on with not just a playoff victory. So, pretty impressive.
Well, great job, Sean. Suburban League with some great matchups,
yes, sir,
in the playoffs, and we've seen a lot of those teams. Aurora, just an impressive all-around team, fundamentally sound from top to bottom. Offensively, we saw them against Copley, and I'm interested to see how Copley is going to be here in the playoffs, because Weston Bridges, they're really going to need a huge game from him, and they mostly do. He's the center of that offense. As he goes, so does the Copley offense for the most part.
And he's been surprisingly consistent. Even in their losses this year, he's had really good games for them. And I think a lot of it has to be with their defense, not allowing teams to get up on them early and having to battle back. If they can control the game with ball control, that having a guy like Weston Bridges is just a phenomenal tool.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup, too, between Copley and Hudson's stout defense. And Hudson also employing their three-headed quarterback system. This last game, Jackson Parker wasn't a major part of it.
Right.
Colt Palais was the hot hand, and Hudson was able to ride him to that victory over Brexville Broadview Heights. That's a really, really good matchup, a 4-5 matchup there with Copley and Hudson, and I'm looking forward to that matchup.
And I wouldn't sleep on Barberton and Aurora either. I mean, these two teams played each other tough, and Barberton seems to be a team that kind of comes out of nowheres and go from there. So that's going to be an interesting just because, again, it's two teams that have played each other already this year. So
in Broadview Heights, they're 8-2, and they get the number 6 spot. If I remember right, Brecksville, Broadview Heights, who did they lost to? Stowe and
Hudson.
And Hudson, right? Okay, so those are their two. For some reason, I thought they lost another one in there somewhere, but they're an impressive team. You know, like you said, Nordonia, Ed, in your division was had some tough luck this year. You know, Anthony Perrine's just an impressive runner, but they do have a young quarterback who's only a sophomore, I believe. So
yeah, Levick's only a sophomore. Perrine and Ty Evans, the guys that were they leaned on heavily both this year and last year, are both going to be gone. So it'll be Levick's show to run going forward for the Knights.
And Hudson's defense against Copley. We'll see what happens, but. Again, it all starts, these games in the Suburban League, 7:30 on Fridays. So it's going to be fun. High school football playoffs, there's nothing like it. When we come back, we're going to talk about our game of the week. It was Solon at Medina. We'll tell you where we're going to be coming up. We're also going to cover the Buckeye Bucks, tell you what they're doing coming up, and give you what's going on in the playoffs. Again, more matchups and what's going on there. We're Sports on Tap. It's our Ohio high school football coverage. Week 10. Wrapping up the year, moving on into the playoffs. We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.